It is 6 o'clock on this Tuesday evening, August the 10th. It is now time to call the All Good City Council to order. We would like to start the meeting with the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'm going to ask Mr. Bill Matheny if he does not mind leading the invocation. And I'll ask Mr. Roy Phipps if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'll all please stand.
Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, Lord, as we humbly bow, we're so thankful for the many blessings of the day of life, for all your love towards us, for hearing and answering our prayers. We thank you for getting to serve you, Lord, above everything else. Lord, we pray tonight concerning those that are sick. If you touch them, Lord, we ask you to comfort them and lost their loved ones. Lord, we pray for those, dear Heavenly Father, that may not know you as their Savior. We pray, dear Heavenly Father, that they find you close to them, dear Heavenly Father, and accept Jesus as their Savior, which everlasting too late. We ask you, Lord, bless this service here tonight. Lord, bless this meeting and everything be done according to your will. Lord, when you get through us in this walk of life, you give us all a home in heaven without the loss of any. We'll not fail to bow our heads to give you the praise and honor and glory for everything. But we ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
And now, Mrs. Flatt, it's time to call the roll.
Honorable Mayor Fowler,
Here.
Honorable Vice Mayor Bilbrey,
Here.
Honorable Councilman Graves,
Here.
Honorable Councilwoman Hawkins,
Here.
Honorable Councilman Hill.
Here.
I would ask the council now to consider the agenda as it is presented, and I would ask for a motion to approve same.
So moved. Second.
Ms. Flatt?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Graves,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins,
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
Now I'll ask that you please look at the minutes of the council meeting. We had one on July the 13th. And I think we've all had a chance to look that over, but if there are any changes or corrections, if you would speak now and let me know.
Motion approved.
Mr. Hill makes a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Bilbrey. Ms. Flatt?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Graves,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins,
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
We had a special called meeting on July the 30th, and that was regarding just a very few items. But you do have the minutes from that meeting in front of you. And if you would also take a moment to look those over, make sure there are no corrections or additions that need to be made. If there are, please let me know. Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the council meeting on July 30th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Bilbrey, Ms. Hawkins, now Ms. Flatt.
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Graves,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins,
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
We have several ordinances this evening to consider, and they are 667-21, 668-21, 669-21, and 670-21. We are going to speak to each of those individually, so at this time, I would ask for a motion to approve suspending the reading of those ordinances at this moment, since we are going to take them up one by one.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Blatt?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Graves,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins,
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
The first ordinance we want to consider is ordinance 667-21. This is here for consideration on second and final reading, which is to change the zoning classification of approximately 2.08 acres at 2235 Burton Branch Road from R1 low density residential to I1 light industrial. It has been passed on first reading, and it was now it will be the floor. We will open the floor for any public comments regarding this rezoning classification, if there's anyone who would like to speak to that. Any of the council have any questions?
Keith, this will take care, there's no more R1 down in this area? This is all gonna be taking it all the properties into one?
No, that's incorrect. There's actually 3 remaining lots that are R1. There were 4, so this is one of the 4. The property owner has requested to get this rezoned to I1 to match up to the rest of the surrounding area, but this does still leave 3 lots remaining as R1.
Any of those homeowners object?
Haven't had any complaints about this. We rezoned another property across the road last year that was one of 5 that was still listed as R1 to I1. So this is just really cleaning up what's there. It's kind of a donut hole of R1, and everything else around it's already industrial. So this just matches up the zoning to what's there.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? If not, I will entertain a motion to pass ordinance number 667-21, which will change the zoning classification of approximately 2.08 acres at 2235 Burton Branch Road from R1 low density residential to I1 light industrial.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Blatt?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Graves,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins,
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
The next ordinance, which is also second and final reading, it's ordinance number 668-21, which is to consider approval on second and final reading, accepting the certified tax rate as received from the state at 0.3623 for the fiscal year 21-22 tax levy. This is required by the state that we adopt this certified tax rate, but since it is second reading, I will now go to the public hearing section and ask that if there's anyone who doesn't understand or anyone who has any questions, if you would like to speak to this, I'd be happy to address those concerns. Hearing none, I would close the public hearing section of the meeting and resume consideration for final reading of ordinance 668-21. I'll go ahead and make the motion that we adopt the state's certified tax rate at 0.3623 for fiscal year 21-22. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Flatt?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bilbrey.
Yes.
Honorable Graves,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins.
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
All right, the next ordinance to consider, this is first reading of ordinance 669-21 to amend the zoning code to redefine single-family residential units. This came to us from the Planning Commission and was requested by our planning director that we need to make some changes. We want to consider and update our code to reflect where tiny homes could be built, where small homes could go, where single-family residential structures could go, manufactured homes, and the conditions that they would have to meet. And this ordinance takes care of that, but I will let Mr. Morrison speak to that if he wishes.
So this is adding definitions for used manufactured homes and non-site built single-family residential structures. So this would include homes that would be moved from another location to here, whether built new or used, so that they are a conditional use in R1, R2 districts. And it also adds them to the R3 and also adds small homes and tiny homes as a conditional use to R3, restricting the small home and tiny home to the R3 district. There are some guidelines that must be used for used manufactured homes and non-site built single family. The unit must be set on a permanent perimeter block and brick foundation, must have concrete footers, must have the appearance of site-built house in good condition according to the All Good Building Inspector. We have spoken with Bob and we've talked about specifying what good condition would be. So shingles, no broken windows, siding not in disrepair, and so he's going to create that list to include in here so that this is not open interpretation, that there is a list of guidelines, so he's going to get that list to us. For small homes and tiny homes, the unit must be set on a permanent perimeter block and brick foundation, must have concrete footers, must have the appearance of site-built housing according to the All Good Building Inspector. Flat roofs and single slope roofs are prohibited. All roofs for tiny homes or small homes must have at least a 412 pitch. Ceiling height must be at least 7 feet tall. Must have a floor space of at least 70 square feet. Must have a heating source that will maintain at least a temperature of 68 degrees. Portable heaters are prohibited, and 8% of the floor space must be in windows. This does also define a small home as a residential structure that is 400 square feet to 999 square feet, and a tiny home as a residential structure that is 399 square feet or less.
So will this change based upon what Bob gives us for what good condition is, or are we gonna let that be at his discretion, or how does that work?
Now we're going to amend this between first and second reading to put that specific list that Bob comes up with in there and define what those items are so that they're not subjective. There's This is the list: good shingles, good windows, good siding, and have that appearance of a site-built structure.
Porches or steps, that way it won't be argumentative.
Right, arbitrary, or your discretion, that kind of saves you as well.
Does this in any way allow manufactured housing like single-wide mobile homes?
No, they're
We're-
prohibited in the city.
That's still excluded totally?
Yes, single-wide structures are still a prohibited structure to move in. Only the ones that are currently in existence, and if they were to burn or be damaged by severe weather, state law allows them to be replaced within 6 months, but no additional new single-wide structures can be moved in.
Or an existing mobile home park, if somebody come in, it was zoned right, and bought a mobile home park and built it to our specs, they could still do that.
Got one more question. There was an exception made by the zoning appeals for a double wide that was recently put in over the other side of town. Does that particular double wide, have they poured a concrete footer and done everything?
They poured a concrete footer, they've not finished it yet, they have poured a concrete footer and laid block around the perimeter. They're building porches and stuff, I was just over there the other day, the place is really finished.
So is that what takes it from a mobile home to a
Well, actually,
manufactured home?
Actually, HUD defines a double wide as like any house that you can build anywhere else. The government, actually, that's some kind of law the government got passed. What we done was took it a step further to make it have the appearance of a site-built house. We can do that, we just can't prohibit that particular type of structure based on federal law.
It comes in on wheels to me, it's always mobile. If it's got axles under it, it's mobile. All right, with the exception that we are going to make this not so vague, and we're going to spell out what good condition means. Do I hear a motion to approve ordinance 669-21 to amend our zoning code to redefine single-family residential units?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Blatt?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bilberry,
Yes.
Honorable Graves,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins.
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
All right, ordinance number 670-21. This is again on first reading, and this would propose to change the zoning classification of approximately 0.29 acres at 218 Cooper Road from R1 low-density residential to CA general commercial. And if you have looked at the map, I believe all of the parcels surrounding this are already CA general commercial, and this is again there at the corner of Main Street and Cooper Road. If you orient yourself on the map, you can see the car lot, and then there is a property behind that which is already in the commercial, and the one that is lightly shaded is the property that we are talking about tonight. Also, I would point out that it is in line with the current property lines of, I think it's Fast Pace Clinic and Everything's a Dollar. Oh, and I would add that this has been advertised. There's been a sign in the yard as well as there has been a letter that has gone out, I believe, to all of the people in that area, and I have not received any response from anyone, and I don't know if the city has.
We've had a couple of phone calls just concerned about traffic. That's really the only phone calls we've had. This is at an intersection with the red light, so this is close to the All Good Drugs All Good Commons that is there. So
But no one objecting.
just concerns about traffic. They didn't voice an outright objection, but they were just concerned about the rezoning and any additional traffic, or if this was going to continue across the hill to make all of Cooper commercial, which it's not. It's just this one lot. All others, if any further were to be requested, would have to come back for council approval. I believe Mr. Harris is here if you have any questions of the property owner as well.
More just questions as to the layout. It's my understanding there's always a buffer between commercial, or we try to have a buffer, and I'm sorry, I have not read the code, but is there a buffer in between, if we rezone that, and I recognize Mr. Harris owns the next parcel, so
Right.
there's probably a minor issue, but you still want to maintain that buffer between commercial, as much as you can between commercial and residential.
So all the way down through there, you have CA general commercial abutting R1, low density residential. It's consistent down through there that way. If this is zoned commercial, of course, there will be some landscape requirements to try to separate it and keep it from abutting right up against a house or anything of that nature. So there are building code requirements that Bob would be ensure that are enforced, that they're, trying to keep some separation.
I think the setbacks are a little further too on residential and commercial, and there would have to be either landscaping. We usually give them an option to build a nice fence or landscaping. We've done that in the past.
He owns most of that down through there.
So you want this to be rezoned to, you're gonna combine this with your other property there that's already commercial? For a specific purpose, right?
Yes, sir.
What about the car lot? That's not yours, or is yours?
It's not mine, but it's already commercialized.
Okay, so this particular piece goes right into the back of,
It's right behind, it's right beside my other property.
okay.
If you'd like, I'd like to, I've got a diagram here I'd like to show you.
Yeah, you might wanna, I've got the diagram, you might wanna, for the benefit of everyone here, you might wanna explain it in detail a little bit.
I'd be glad to.
Yeah, we got the diagram.
The car lot is on Main Street, and they also purchased recently the other property adjoining the Dollar Tree on Main Street. Then right behind the car lot and the other property the car lot owns is my property at 226 Cooper. Then the potential buyers of the property is wanting to add the 218 address to this to make it in line with the Dollar Tree. And they need that, they say, to go back as far as they can for the restaurant. The fast food restaurant is the one that's interested in this.
Okay.
And it's right in line with a Dollar Tree property that goes into the back. And they need that, they said.
Okay. Thank you.
If there's anything else I can.
Yeah, so this is part of a bigger project, so all four of these, is that
Yes.
what you're saying? Is
All this
four of
is
these?
involved in this one project.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is there a risk that, and this might be a question for just everybody, just open, I mean, is there a risk that we have two different situations going on there? Once you just rezone it commercial, could they then, my only concern is that, that commercial aspects start creeping down Cooper. It's probably a low risk if this is part of a big parcel a bigger project, and I'm totally for it. But, you know, I'm more just concerned about that creep of commercial down Cooper.
Well, to answer that question, I own 7 houses on down past that, so if you wanted to commercialize it, I'd have to do that too.
Sure. But
So-
there are some other properties down there on this.
Yeah, there's some across the street, but in line with that property, I own the rest of them down through there.
So for some creeping down through there, come talk to you,
It would
right?
come from me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Probably not an issue.
I do, I heard the comment about the traffic. If we encounter a traffic issue there, people trying to come out from the restaurant and go toward the red light, I can see how that might happen.
Well, there's 2 turn lanes there at the red light. They are a turn left lane at the red
Yeah.
light on Cooper. There's also a turn left lane coming from Main Street to Cooper. So they've already got 2 turn lanes.
Yeah, there's not, suppose people wanted to turn from the restaurant and go left because there's a traffic backup and go down Cooper to Dry Valley, then there is no turn lane. Am I correct?
Yes,
Is
that's
there
correct.
any intention to have a turn lane down there?
Not currently, no. Are you talking about on the Dry Valley, Cooper
Dry
Connect?
Valley and
Yeah,
Cooper,
there's no
that's-
intent to put a turn lane at that end at this time.
Space.
You're talking about the Main Street end, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see.
He's talking about the other end of Cooper
I
at Dry
can see
Valley.
possibilities at a busy time of day, people would maybe want to come out of the restaurant area and turn to the right to go toward Main Street, but the traffic could be stacked up. So they're gonna turn to the left and go down Cooper toward Dry Valley, and when they get down to Dry Valley, there's no turn lane left or right. And at one time, 2 or 3 years ago maybe, when they built those condos down there, we were talking about putting in a turn lane. That was part of the discussion.
I think they discussed it, but we never decided to do it. So I don't think they ever decided to put a turn lane in right there.
They have been doing some work down there on Dry Valley and the end of Cooper.
We
I
are.
think they did some ditch work down there.
We
or
are, and
something.
we're going to pull the head wall back and do some more work once we get some time.
Yeah.
And cut that curbing and redo it and redo that alignment a little bit as we can get to it. And we've got to cut out and put a drain box in there as well. So
Yeah, that's a time and place right there.
it is.
Yeah, you've already had some issues down there with traffic going over in the ditch and hitting a concrete cupboard there.
Yeah.
Even a tractor and trailer got stuck there a while back, I think, at that location. I would say that something should be done there someday.
Thank you. You've answered my questions.
All right. Anybody else?
Thanks,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Harris. Any other questions or discussion?
Any idea on timeline, Mr. Harris? Any idea on timeline?
No, we have to get everything approved first, and then you have to go to the planning commission.
Absolutely, but once that, I mean, are we talking 6 months, 12 months, or what's a generalized timeline, or do you even do you have a suspicion? Just more curious than anything, thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and move that we approve on first reading ordinance 670-21 to change the zoning classification of approximately 0.29 acres at 218 Cooper Road from R1 low density residential to CA general commercial. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Flatt?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Graves,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins,
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
Item number 9 on your agenda is to consider approval to surplus the 1982 Ford tractor. And we heard last night the general condition of that tractor. And I will let Mr. Morrison explain that in more detail to those who are here this evening.
It's a 1982 Ford tractor that we've had for years. It was used with a sidearm mower to maintain right-of-ways and sides of streets. I believe after talking with Mr. Jones, this has went through several sidearm mowers, so the tractor's been around for a long time. We tried to extend the life of the tractor and continue to use it with a bush hog and a drag box. We've recently had some issues with it, and we took it to get it checked out. I thought it was a rear end. It appears to be that maybe second and reverse are out. It's having some issues, but to get the components to fix it was estimated to be somewhere around $7,000 by the time we do labor and parts and everything. So it's my recommendation that we surplus this and try to get what we can out of it. It is in good condition other than that. Has new tires and paint's good and everything else looks good. But at this point, we don't think it's worth putting that much repair money in and taking another risk with it. So it would be our recommendation to surplus it and sell it and see what we can get out of it and go from there.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Mr. Hill and then Ms. Hawkins. Ms. Platt?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bilbrey.
Yes.
Honorable Graves,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins.
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
Next, we have the city administrator's report.
The All Good Business Coffee will be next week on August the 17th from 8 to 9 a.m. That'll be hosted by the Chamber of Commerce. The Quilt Festival is coming up September the 17th and 18th, so that's just around the corner. So we're looking forward to that. We just completed the first steak cook-off this last weekend, and we feel like it was a success. We had a good crowd and a good turnout. The Mingle Market had a good crowd and lots of people walking around, so we're excited about both of those. Department heads, do you have anything else to add?
Well, I guess I need to address this to the chief. I've had some discussion with some citizens regarding the town hall that we had to address the traffic issues. And can you tell us specifically how that's been addressed since the meeting?
Yes, ma'am. We have been doing some decoy cars. We've also put out more, we have borrowed a traffic sign. We have 2 electronic traffic signs out. We have a special enforcement day planned. We're also utilizing THSO money for overtime for officers. I heard tonight that we have even fewer cars on Dry Valley than has been seen in the past as far as speeding. So from the enforcement side of it, we are moving forward. As far as education and infrastructure, that's still whatever wants to be done.
Well, I've waved at a couple of the decoy cars, and I've had someone flash their lights at me, probably well-founded, to tell me that, hey, there's a police car down the way, and when I got there, it was a decoy car. But anyway, I appreciated the advance warning. But I have seen a decoy car at a certain location for 3 days straight. So even I know it's a decoy. And so I would just, as a friendly suggestion, say that maybe we need to move those a little more often, or
We have a plan in place for 3 or 4 days in a row.
Okay, thanks.
Is there any plan to follow up the decoy car with a radar car that looks just like it?
That's what I was talking about, yes.
Okay. I mean, it's,
I would prefer not to get out what we're trying to do, but yes,
okay. I've talked to a couple of people in the last couple of weeks that, and one of them was, well, both of them were actually stopped on Mirandy and they both admitted to me that they were speeding, but they didn't get tickets. They just got warnings. You know, I guess I'm concerned that we're not hitting the pocketbook with speeders.
We're utilizing, and I can't tell you why, an officer's discretion, why he did or did not write a ticket, unless I was there. But there are tickets being issued, and there are warnings being given, yes, sir.
Okay.
I know that we've got some folks that are out or going to be out and in your department. So are you then going to have to, or are you taking a shift? Are you riding in a car? And
We are pushing, Lieutenant, the deputy chief out, and myself out. I think I've got a shift coming up myself on Saturday.
okay, well, from everything, the feedback that I get is that, you know, I guess I'm old-fashioned. I go back to this, everybody wants to harp about community policing. But I think it's important that they see us and that they know us, and we're not the bad guy, even though a lot of times, you know, we're portrayed that way on television or whatever. And, you know, I think the morning hours are important. I think those afternoon coming home hours are important. And, you know, I was going to say, they may not could pick, you know, me or anybody else out of a lineup, and I think that's sad. I think that our citizens need to know who we are, and I think that all, as I read the statutes and codes and that we have, that all department heads, in order to properly evaluate their employees, they need to be out with those employees and, you know, ride along, take a shift with somebody and see their performance. Maybe, you know, it might have been a ticket had you been in the seat beside them. I don't know, but I'd like, I personally, and I'm just speaking for myself, would like to see us, and I say us, meaning the department, the police department, trying to foster a good relationship with the citizens in our community and let people know who we are. And I'm not just picking on you. You know, all department heads, you know, should take that into consideration. Council have anything else? Victor's been here longer than any of us probably put together, so yes, we appreciate everything Director Jones does. Sorry? Older than dirt, okay. She said that, not me. Okay, are there here any citizens' concerns or anybody want to speak from the audience and ask a question, give us a suggestion? No? All right, well, let's see. Our next meeting is September the 14th, so I move that we adjourn, and if I could have a second. Thanks, Mr. Graves. We'll just say we're adjourned and I'll go home or wherever we're going.